Yeah, I want to talk about something interesting. So, when you show up in South America and even lots of parts of Europe, they have mainly cement houses or clay brick houses that are parged. Usually, they don't have a lot of overhangs, they have poor roofs. And you come to a place and you go and rent a house. We rented two houses here before we built this place. And both houses were absolutely full of mold. And the mold is one of the most dangerous things to be around because you're walking around, you kick it up, and it gets into your lungs. So there's all these signs of you getting slowly sick from living in these wet, moldy houses. You have like nasal problems, sinus problems, congestion, runny noses. The biggest problem with these houses is it's perpetual. And what that means is you're coming home every night or you're in the apartment all day and you're breathing in this stuff continuously and you're stirring it up and you're basically making yourself sick by living inside these houses. We had one landlord, he played a little bit of a trick on us. He kept he knew when we were coming, so we'd have all the windows open, and he'd constantly use bleach to get rid of the mold smell. All you could smell was bleach. Then what happened is we came back and he wasn't there. We had the key and the apartment was locked up, and it literally was impossible to live in this apartment. The smell was so unbearable that you know that you're going to get sick immediately living in there and sleeping in there. So you have to be very careful because you can get into a trap where you live inside this apartment and you get slowly sicker, weaker, and you have to understand what the problem is. And the problem is that you're constantly breathing in this mold. And so pay real attention when you go to rent an apartment. There's all these telltale signs. You'll have like the paint discoloring at the bottom or at the top. You'll have on the outside of the building, you'll have like these wet spots. Have a look at the roof. Use your nose, and if your nose doesn't work, bring somebody with you who has a really good nose. If you can find somebody who's sensitive to mold, bring them with you, because if you're not sensitive, you might be breathing in this stuff and getting really sick without ever really knowing why you're getting so sick. There's a lot of construction problems. So what happens in Loja, for example, they build the houses property line to property line, and they don't have the ability to put a roof overhang on the two property sides. So what happens is when there's a driving wind and a rain, and they never finish those sides of the building, so they'll have an easy access for the moisture to get into the house. And the problem is it's almost impossible, once the moisture comes in, is for it to get back out. It's really hard to get rid of that moisture. And this mold loves the moisture and starts to fester around and create all these airborne particles that can get you really sick. A lot of times children will show really tough symptoms, really bad symptoms, and the doctors are never associating it with the mold issue. They'll have some other ideas why this child is sick, why he has a runny nose all the time, or elderly people. There are people that are more vulnerable to this mold. Anyways, if you can avoid it when you're coming here, try to pick an apartment that is not moldy, and don't fall for the price, because you get a really cheap apartment, it might be because it's full of mold. And this counts for everywhere in the world, but where you have this one layered cement construction, usually it's clay brick and then they parge it, those houses are very, very prone to picking up moisture. And if you're cooking, let's say you're boiling rice or you're boiling anything, or you're taking a shower, or you're doing things that create moisture, and you have your windows open and it's raining outside, the moisture comes inside. Anyways, all this spongy material absorbs moisture, and when it gets into the walls and you have this mold and fungus growing, it can make you very sick. So be careful when you're getting an apartment or even buying a house. If you're buying a house, you know, if you want to get an expert to tell you if it's full of mold or not. But be very careful, because it's a very, very, very tricky issue to resolve or fix. A lot of times it takes a lot of outside work if you can get to the outside. And be cautious, because that mold is a very deadly scenario, and you can get sick and so fast that it's not even funny. And the biggest problem a lot of times is people don't even know why they're getting so sick and why they're getting all these symptoms that are related to taking in too much mold. So again, just be cautious. When you're going to rent something, use your nose or somebody else's nose. Stay in the apartment for a little bit longer. If you get headaches, if your nose starts to run, then avoid the place and find something that's a lot drier. You also have to remember, the place like Ecuador and many other places have heavy-duty rainy seasons, and they have very dry seasons. So you might have 4 months of the year where there's less mold, and 8 months of the year where it's the apartment is completely full of mold, because of the continuous onslaught of moisture supplying the mold with nutrition and food.